The New York Rangers continue to struggle big time as they have now lost 4 games in a row and are 4-6 in their last 10 games played. This team is not playing great hockey right now, and after that loss against the Carolina Hurricanes, I think this team is clearly in a big rut right now. They're having some big issues, some big problems, and those issues and problems and kind of negatives about the Rangers play, it's not the first time we're seeing these things. It's the lack of physicality, the lack of 5-on-5 goal scoring at moments, relying too much on our goaltending, not being good enough defensively, allowing too many shots. I can go on and on. There are way too many things that this Rangers team is just not doing a good enough job at right now and are allowing the other team to really kind of control the game for the most part and really just take points away from this team consistently now. 4 losses in a row is just not great. And it's not like they've been blowout games, which for the most part, it is kind of nice. We're not seeing, these 5-1 losses all the time, but we're still just not seeing great play from this New York Rangers team, which does have a lot of talent on it. And coming off this offseason where we did not see that big kind of star level kind of guy traded for or signed in for agency, that was a little disappointing. And, there definitely are some worries, even after that offseason, obviously, the lack of offseason that really had, only getting, Riley Smith there. There were obviously some big question marks still about this New York Rangers team and whether or not they can get over the hump. And, in today's video, I really want to kind of dive into whether or not we should be kind of hitting that panic button as New York Rangers fans. And I think there is kind of one way where you can definitely hit that panic button and another situation where you don't need to hit it yet. So we're going to kind of talk about that in today's video. And, the one side is, to make playoffs, I don't think you have to hit the panic button yet. I think we're still going to make playoffs. I'm not necessarily worried about that, but where I would be clicking the panic button is absolutely on the side of, winning a Stanley Cup this season. I think at this point right now, with the way this team's built, even coming off this offseason, before this season started, I was a little wary of, whether or not we'd actually be able to get it done. Obviously, having a guy like Igor Shesterkin in net pretty much always guarantees your team to have a shot at possibly winning the cup. And obviously we've seen that, with making 2 of the last 3 Eastern Conference Finals. That's a big feat there. Most teams in the NHL would love to have that much success on a 3-year span there. But obviously with this Rangers team, we've made those Eastern Conference Finals, and we have higher aspirations as a franchise. One of the top hockey markets in the entire world, one of the biggest and best hockey franchises in the entire world, has bigger standards. We have not seen a cup win in so long. I'm only 21 years old. I have not seen a cup win, obviously, and I would love to see one in my lifetime by my New York Rangers, by my favorite team. And as of right now, things aren't looking great to see a cup win in the very near future. Now, things can obviously turn around real quick. You never know what happens there. I don't think we need to fire Peter Laviolette. Some Rangers fans, kind of talk about that possibly, whether or not he's the issue. But personally, I don't think he's the issue. I think this team just doesn't have the right kind of roster build to it, doesn't have the right toughness and, maybe some depth in certain areas, especially defensively. The talent is kind of lacking there, but the overall kind of defensive play, that kind of main part there, and the puck moving ability from this D-core definitely has its issues. And, the overall forward core, I think it's pretty solid for the most part there, but we have certain guys who definitely don't show up when it matters most in the playoffs there, which has definitely been a big issue on why this team, has made, 2 Eastern Conference Finals appearances, lost around one of the Devils there, and we've gone on some pretty good runs there. But the forward core has definitely been a part of our issues when we have guys like, Panarin at moments. And obviously his point totals haven't been too bad, but when you kind of watch Panarin in the playoffs there, he's just not having that overall kind of impact that he does have in the regular season. And obviously it's a little different style of play there once it comes to playoffs there, but he's still a guy you're paying top dollar to, and he's just not getting it done when it matters most. Zibanejad has obviously had some blunders, we'll say, in the playoffs there. He's had some big problems just overall playing wise and just not being that good. So in the playoffs at the moment, so he's an issue. There's a lot of guys in this team who, when it comes to the playoffs, they're obviously kind of shied away from the bright spot there and the light, whatever you want to call it. So I just think right now with this team, are we going to win a cup this season? As of right now, I would lean towards definitely not. I would hit that panic button there. If you're talking about possibly winning a Stanley Cup this season, definitely hit that panic button. But if you're just talking about making playoffs, I don't think it's time to panic yet. I think as of right now, obviously, we're in a big slump and things have not looked good at all. Your last 10 games played here, we're 4-6, and we're playing some, decent teams at moments, but, some not great teams we're just losing to and getting outplayed by, and that is not at all what you want to see. So, I think in general, this team right now, as it's built, can definitely make the playoffs and obviously go on a run and go fairly deep. But can they win the whole thing with this core and how this team's built right now? I don't really think so. Now, if Igor Shesterkin obviously plays out of his freaking mind and we have other guys take some big steps up, I mean, maybe Brett Berard just becomes a point-per-game player instantly for us like that, and he's a true kind of top six kind of forward, which, I mean, so far in those 2 games played, he looks pretty good there, having a goal, having an assist, a couple points there. I mean, he's looking pretty good so far in his, only 2 games so far in the NHL. So I think he's definitely a bright spot in the last couple of games here. But just in general, the way this team's built, it needs more toughness. It needs more depth in certain areas. And we definitely know we have to add in some defensemen who can play some great defensive hockey, bring that toughness and physicality that a lot of the other teams definitely have. I mean, look at the Florida Panthers. They're just such a great example. And I hate talking about them because they obviously put it to the playoffs last season. But the way their roster's built, with that overall toughness and defensemen that they have, just the overall kind of decor that they have is just built great. I mean, they have so many big, tough, strong, physical defensemen who can break you out the puck there, but also play some great defensive hockey, not allow too many high-scoring danger chances, but also not allow a bunch of shots there. They're blocking shots, but they're also playing with that physicality and that toughness that you need to have to win a Stanley Cup. You take a look at the teams that have won Cups, they have that toughness and physicality for the most part there, especially that Florida Panthers team, so I think they're a clear example of that, and this team definitely needs to add more of it. Ideally, we see, at least 2 defensemen traded away and kind of, add in 2 kind of guys on the back end for the decor there. Ideally, I don't know if that's really going to happen mid-season or, before the deadline there. I'm not sure how realistic 2 defensemen is to be added in, but at least 1 has to happen. And, with those kind of trade reports coming out, there kind of is a big question mark on whether or not we're actually personally, in my opinion, going to actually see that big kind of trade happen. One of the core guys, the true core guys, actually traded away. I'm not quite sure we're going to see it mid-season. Now, do I want to see that move happen? Like I talked about in yesterday's video, absolutely. I want to see that move happen. And if you haven't already, definitely go check out my last couple of videos here. I have kind of broken down, that post there on X by Elliot Friedman and kind of what he was saying about the Rangers seemingly being pretty open to possibly moving away some of their core guys, or at least one of them. I have a couple of videos out already the last couple of days there, so definitely go check that out if you want kind of some more in-depth information on that and who could possibly be traded away and stuff like that. But, just in general here, we really, I don't think it's time to panic. I don't think we need to panic quite yet for making playoffs. As of right now, we are still, one of the wild card teams, which is nice there. Obviously, it's a pretty tight race right now in the Eastern Conference. There are quite a few teams, around that kind of 24, 23, 22, 21 kind of point range right now. And obviously, the Rangers are right around there. So the wild card is going to be a tough race. And the top 3 teams in the Metro are starting to pull a bit away from the Rangers there, which is not at all what you want to see. So hopefully, we do see this team kind of turn things back around here in the near future, maybe make a trade. I mean, I'm not quite sure we're actually going to see a trade happen in the next week or so. Like I said, I really badly want to see a trade happen. I'd love to be able to talk about us adding in some great top 4 or top pairing caliber defenseman or another top 6 forward. I would love to do that. That'd be so much fun. But unfortunately, personally, I just don't think it's going to happen within the next week or so, which we definitely need a big move to happen there. Brett Berard has been, like I said, a really nice kind of addition so far. In those 2 games played, I think he's impressed quite a bit there and definitely is looking like a possible, true, maybe second line, top 6 caliber winger for years and years to come. And he does play with a bit of edge to his game there, but obviously with him being about 5'9", you're not going to get that supreme kind of toughness and physicality that this team definitely needs more of. Now, is he going to be a soft player out there? Not really, but he's obviously not going to be some, hitting machine out there like a Will Cooley. He's just not going to be at that, 5'9" size there, but he does play with a lot of energy there. Is a pretty skilled player, pretty reliable in his own zone there. So I think in general, he's going to be a great player for this team for years and years to come, more than likely. But obviously, there are definitely some other big, clear issues that this team definitely needs to address at some point in the very, very near future. I don't want to see this team wait until the deadline to make a big trade happen, especially if this poor play does continue. So to wrap things up here, if you're talking about winning the Stanley Cup, I think you can absolutely hit that panic button. Sure, I'm definitely not expecting a Stanley Cup win this season. That's disappointing. I mean, I came into this season here with high hopes. I came into the offseason with higher hopes because I figured we would see that big move happen, at least one, pretty big size move happen there. And obviously we got Riley Smith in there, who is, a nice addition, but obviously he's just not going to cut it. He's a nice player to have, and I'm fine with the trade that happened. I think we gave up okay value, but obviously he's not enough to really kind of put this team over the top to win that cup there. But if you're talking about playoffs, I definitely would not hit the panic button. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I am strongly feeling that we're still going to make the playoffs there. It's just about how far we can go and whether or not we can actually get over the hump, which as of right now, it does not seem like this team can, which is very, very disappointing to say. I talk about this team every single day I post a video, so it really is disappointing to be in this stage right now where I'm not super excited about possibly winning the cup this year because I don't necessarily think, as of right now with this core and the way they're playing, they can actually get it done. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I truly do appreciate all the support that you all show on these videos. There's so many great New York Rangers fans now in our little community here of New York Rangers fans, so I appreciate all you that do hit that like button, subscribe, watch these videos. It means a lot. I have a ton of fun, obviously making these videos, talking Rangers hockey with all you, so I want to thank you all for everything you guys do out there. This channel could literally be nothing without you. So I want to thank you all for that. Your likes, you're watching this video, commenting, all that good stuff, subscribing. It truly does mean a lot. And I just have so much fun talking New York Rangers hockey with all of you. So as always, definitely comment down below your thoughts on this whole situation here. Do you think it's time to hit the panic button on that Stanley Cup possibility, which I definitely think it is? I think it's time to hit the panic button on playoffs, which I'm not quite there yet. But if this play continues eventually, I'll probably be hitting that panic button as well. And, just in general, with this whole situation here, with the trade news and trade rumors and all that kind of stuff there, let me know your thoughts. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll catch you next one. And let's go Rangers. Hopefully, we turn it around in the near future.